Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is a recording of Parenting Through the Parsha with Rabbi Matt Shapiro.
I still get the Sunday newspaper because I like having a newspaper to read on the weekend, and I like having a crossword to do in pen, and I like reading the comics still. And usually they're, fluffy and forgettable, and once in a while one really stands out. And there was a great peanut strip that obviously was a reprint, but that was in the paper this past Sunday. And it shows Lucy and Sally walking around, and they see a bug. Lucy says, "Look at that tiny bug. Have you ever thought about how little he knows?" And Sally says, "He doesn't know what day it is, that's for sure." And the two of them go through a list over the course of a couple of panels of what the bug doesn't know, that the bug doesn't know about the moon, that the bug doesn't know about frisbees, that the bug doesn't know about barbers, all the things that the bug doesn't know. And then Linus walks up and says, "Do either of you know where the new post office is?" And Sally and Lucy didn't even know there was a new post office. And then you see the bug sort of lines that we can't really know what the bug is saying, but clearly Linus understands, giving Linus directions, and Linus says, "Oh, thank you very much." And the last panel of the cartoon is Lucy and Sally looking dumbfounded at us while the bug whistles away. It's easy to think about all the things that we know or that we think we know. And part of the challenge, part of my challenge, I think part of our challenge as humans, oftentimes part of our challenge as parents, is remembering that there's a lot that we don't know. Easy to name the things that we do. It's sometimes hard to remember how much we don't. And I was thinking about this refracted through some pretty well-known verses in Parsha NItzavim, the Parsha this week. And it starts off by saying that surely this instruction, this mitzvah, which I command you, is not too baffling for you, nor is it too far from you. Lo bashamayim hi. It is not in the heavens, that you should say, "Who among us can go up to the heavens and get it and teach it, that we may observe it?" It's not past the sea, etc., etc. And the section closes, "No, the thing is very close to you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it." Now, these verses are seen in some rabbinic sources as paradigmatic of the rabbinic enterprise, that the Torah is not something that is far off, but that in each generation we take it and we interpret it and we make it our own. And that resonates for me. That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate having a model embedded within the Torah itself for how the Torah can continue to unfold and evolve and shift over the course of the generation so that it continues to be relevant to us today and hopefully continue to be relevant for our kids and our grandkids and onwards for generations to come. And on a even simpler level, I love this idea that it's something that's right there in front of us. It's something that's very close to us. The wisdom of our tradition, the mitzvot, the insights of our Torah, they're not abstract, overly intellectual things that are beyond our grasp physically or mentally. It's right here in front of us. That if we can stay open to the wisdom around us, if we can recognize that there's insight that's possible in our everyday lives, that's where we can learn and we can grow. We're navigating something in our house right now that is complicated. That is complicated. And we're trying to figure it out as a family. And what a couple of folks have reflected back to us is just listen to your kid. Listen to what your kid is saying they need and go with that. Similar to Lucy and Sally in the cartoon, who might think they know better, and it turns out that the solution, at least to the question being asked in the comic strip, is something simple and straightforward, that for all the things they think they know, they actually don't. What if we stay open to the wisdom and insights that our kids hold that for one reason or another, either we don't have access to or we've forgotten the essential simplicity that might be present in an answer. It's also telling, I think, that in these verses, they're all written in the collective. That when it says this mitzvah is not too far from you, it's in the collective. That when it says the thing is very close to you, it's in the collective. It's all for us as a group, not for any one of us as individuals. And I think that resonates too, that the way in which we can keep things simple, the way in which we can make sure that we stay open to what's right here in front of us is by being checks on each other and by reminding each other that to keep things simple. And simple is not the same thing as easy, but it's easy to spin out and get distracted and go down rabbit holes for things that feel big and might very well actually be big. But if we can remember, lo bashamayim hi, the essential wisdom of our tradition, wisdom that our kids might hold, that our loved ones might hold, it's not an abstract thing. It's not a faraway thing. It's right here in front of us. We can remind each other of that. To me right now, that feels really important in helping our kids learn to trust themselves and what they know, and trusting what we deeply know, not just what we think we know, but what we deeply know. It's almost Rosh Hashanah. I'm certainly well aware of that. I'd imagine many of you are too. And so, of course, it's time to be thinking about where I've been successful this past year, where I want to be more successful this next year, and something that I'm looking to take on and committing to is that amidst the swirl of everyday life, whether it's a seemingly easy day or a difficult day or a complicated day, is to continue to do the work to try to keep things simple, grounded in these verses, that the wisdom and the insight of our tradition, the wisdom and the insight that we each hold, it's right here in front of us, as long as we keep it simple and as long as we stay open and as long as we do it together. And that feels really important to me.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.